All right, so I'm sitting down with Ed from the Airpreneur community, met up here in Scottsdale, and wanted to chat with him a little bit about his arbitrage journey because in literally three to 4 months, went from zero to three properties, which is awesome. And he's had a little bit of a roller coaster experience with getting these deals. So I wanted to chat with him a little bit, just get an understanding on how he did this. Thought it would be valuable insight to anybody watching or listening who's interested in arbitrage. So Ed, let's jump into it. Overall, I'm curious, what appealed to you about the world of Airbnb arbitrage? Why did you want to start with it?
Oh, I always wanted to look for passive income. I'm working hospitality and hotel manager for 20 plus years.
Can you move this a little bit closer? Yeah, thank you.
About 20 plus years in hospitality, just working long hours, working a lot, and the bills kept coming. So I decided to find something as a passive income, and I was looking for a lot of different options, all different things, and then I found you guys, and I decided to take a shot in Airbnb because it's similar to hospitality. What I do already is just like pretty much get the ball rolling on the business and the customer service part of it. That's what I do. So that
Yeah, you already had like a background in hospitality. It was like a perfect fit for you. Overall, did like the business model from the outside looking in, did it make sense where you're like, okay, on paper, I could see how the numbers would work out in arbitrage. Like it makes logical sense to me. And or was there another reason that you felt like it was compelling to you? Was it more so just because it was already aligned with what you do professionally, all that stuff?
I always wanted to get into real estate somehow and somehow invest in some properties and rent it out. Airbnb has always been in my mind. But I didn't know anything about it, to be honest. I didn't know how to start. I didn't know what I didn't know, and that's pretty much what it was. And when I had my first conversation with Ben, he, poor guy, I grilled him a few times, and he stayed up there, and then he kept calling me back, and we had a few conversations back and forth, and it was good. And then after that, I had an onboarding call, and that's when I realized, okay, this is good, something I want to do for sure.
Cool. What was your overall like ambition with this, right? Like I know ultimately you said like you have hospitality experience. I want to grow a real estate portfolio. Where do you want to take this thing? Like ultimately, like what's the long-term goal with jumping into Airbnb?
The ultimate goal is just to get out of hospitality at one point and just do this and keep my own business and not have to have a 9 to 5 job and just live out of this and be able to travel and be anywhere else and still run my business.
Yeah, cool. That's one of the things I love about this business model. I had a conversation with somebody earlier today about this too. They're like, Airbnb, I don't know. It's just risky because like I'm starting a business and this and that. And it's like, first off, what business is not risky? Like there's no, do you think Elon Musk or like Jeff Bezos was like, well, one day the economy might crash, so I'm not going to start Amazon. You know what I mean? It's like every business model has its risk. And if we never make a decision based on, oh, one day there might be something that'll go south, then you would never start any business. But at the end of the day, it's like risky compared to what? It's like if I go into regular real estate, I'm out $50K, I'm in a $500,000 loan, and I'm trusting tenants for the next 30 years, right? Or if I start, let's just say like a restaurant or a cafe, it's like, okay, got to hire employees. Do I know how to hire employees? Can I vet those people out? I have to manage it in person. Like, honestly, Airbnb, it's like the platform does the marketing for you. I have to spend at most 10 to 20K in furniture and 10 to 20K in furniture for a property that's probably going to generate 5K a month in revenue. You know what I mean? It's like, there's really not a ton of risk there. And then I can just manage it from a laptop. You know what I mean? So it overall just makes a lot of sense. But like, were those some of the reasons that you thought like, okay, this model makes sense to me?
Yes, I'm the guy that like to play safe. I'm always never really risk too much. Like I work hard for my money. So to put all my life savings in something that I'm not sure if it's going to go, not something I would do it. But this is, like you say, is a low risk, right? Yeah, you lose 10, 20K. It's a good chunk of money, but it's not compared to if you invest in buying places and invest in a new restaurant and stuff like this. It's not, definitely not.
For sure. So tell us a little bit about these 3 Airbnbs that you got in 3 months.
Well, so I have to say I was a little lucky at first. I met a guy through the community, Team Sullivan, and he had 2 Airbnbs in Joshua 3. And first I reached out to him just to help me out and give me some tips about the region, about the regulations in there, how it would be. And then a few weeks later, he reached out to me and said, hey, I've got a new job. I don't have time for this. You want to take over my properties? So sure, I'll take it. Like that's easy. So I did some analysis, I went back and forth and all this. I ended up getting his 2 properties. And I started analyzing the marketing a little more. And that market is pretty competitive. Like there's pretty much nobody lives in Joshua Tree. Everybody's there has an Airbnb house. You know, there's tons and thousands of houses in there.
Exclusively tourism.
It's very, very touristic. So I say, okay, if I need to scale this, I need to get out of there. I think if I get more properties there, I'll be competing with myself, and it's not going to work out for me. So, and that's when, honestly, one of the community is great. And one of the girls in the community, I forgot her name, but she lives in Pennsylvania, I think, and she has a property in Houston, and she got one in Puerto Rico.
Okay. Oh, are you talking about Tiara?
Tiara, I think.
Oh no, they live in they live just outside of Texas. I think Louisiana. I think they live in Louisiana. They have properties in Dallas, and then they also, or I'm sorry, properties in Houston, and then they have the one in Puerto Rico.
Yes, and she was new too. And then I reached out to her on the side. I said, okay, what did you do? Like, why did you decide to go so far? And she's like, well, my husband and I, we love to travel and all this. And then our market is not great, so we decided to go out. And then we take opportunities to travel and see places. And then we find places to do it. So that's a great idea. You know, that's something that I think I should do too. And that's when I started looking, okay, what markets are out there? So I went through the list that Adam sent out with all the best cities and all this. And I started looking. And then somehow I look in Austin, Texas. I said, okay, that sounds like a good market. And everything I started looking at looked good. So I said, okay, I'm going to start reaching out to some properties over there. Got pretty good response. Like quite a few people replied to me and all this. And then all of a sudden, in one weekend, I had like 4 or 5 houses to look at. So, okay, I'm flying over. I'm buying a ticket. I'm going over there. So I got to this house, which was the one I was most excited about. It was the owner. It was an investment property. They tried Airbnb before on their own. Didn't work out. They didn't like it. They had a management company doing for them. She didn't like the management company, but then she loved the idea of the arbitrage. She said, that way, you do everything. I don't have to get involved. You pay me my money, and you do your thing. So she was pretty cool about it. She liked everything. The house was fully furnished, really well decorated, like really nice.
I remember you sending us this analysis, actually.
Yeah, it was a beautiful house, a great location, walking distance to a lot of different places. Everything kind of fits. Like the rent is a little pricey. I tried to negotiate with her. She was pretty tough. She lowered a couple $100 on the first year only, and then the second year back to what she originally asked. But besides that, everything else was like the way she was asking. And the first month that I'm running through, almost a full month now, I started May 1st, we have the house pretty much occupied like 85%, I think, of the time.
That's great.
Yeah.
How did you feel confident in the numbers in the property? Like, what was the process of analysis? Like, how did you know, like, okay, I'm not worried about it. I know it's going to make X, Y, Z. What was that like?
Well, there's a lot of houses over there making a lot of money. And those houses are not much different than that house that I have, right? So I think I can do the same, right? If I follow the same rules, I think I can do the same. There's some houses they're not making, but probably those people that don't know what they're doing, right? So I compare myself to some of the best houses in the market, and they were making, if I was pulling the same numbers, I would be making at least 4 or 5 extra per month.
Wow.
So I
4 or 5K
myself
in profit?
On profit.
Wow.
But then I lower myself. I say, okay, you know what? Let's play safe on this realistic, and good. Yeah. And that's when I was trying to analyze, and then I had a little time frame, so I sent it over, and Greg took a look at it, and Greg sent it back and said, okay, this looks good. I think you should do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
For those listening, like, what we do is we teach each one of the folks, the mentees in the community, to, when they're analyzing deals, we walk them through how to do it, and then what they'll do is they'll send us the analysis and let us look over it. So like me, Adam, the coaching team, Sonny, Greg, Adnan, etc. Like they'll just look over each analysis and say, hey, I double checked your work. I think this looks really good, or don't take it, or X, Y, Z, and that helps out a lot usually. But man, 4 to 5K profit margin, like that is, don't get me wrong, like that's certainly possible in this world, but it's not like, usually that doesn't happen on your first go around, you know? So for you to find a property that can project close to that is really, really good.
I don't think I'll make that, but there's some properties over there definitely doing that.
Yeah.
You can tell that they're killing it. They're charging high rates, and they're occupied all the time.
Wow. So, and listen, one thing I want to just backtrack on to, Ed, is like I know you started out with saying like, hey, I'm lucky. But that, honestly, I know what you did. Like what you ended up doing is you got into the community, you started networking in the community, you found somebody who was in your backyard that had some properties that he wasn't managing appropriately. Just a side note, I know that he specifically was one of those guys that just like he landed his deals and then went completely MIA, and I don't think he invested near the time or energy into automating the back end because he was busy with his other job. And you know, nothing against him. I think he's just one of those guys that like he got what he wanted and then he just didn't really follow through with the rest. Whereas you were like hungry to learn. I mean, that's not luck because you immediately like came in and just sought out people that are executing in all these different areas of the country. It was like you were thinking, all right, maybe Texas. Boom, immediately reached out to people in Texas, said, how did you do this? So I don't think that's luck, man. I actually commend you for that because that's like just like hunger. You're always seeking outside input and additional ways to succeed. So what was it like launching a property from far away? From because you live in California and you're launching these in Austin, Texas. Like that's not simple, or that's not easy. It's simple, but how was that?
It was a little challenging. First, I went there just to see the house, right? So I spent a weekend there, went by myself, toured the house, met with the owner, toured other houses that didn't end up working out, and really land on that one. So once we have everything signed and all this, so say, okay, I have to plan like a 3-4 day weekend to go over there and make sure everything's ready to go. On the side, and my job sent me to here to Phoenix for a couple months right in the middle of this, but I had to take time off and go back there. But then my wife came with me, which was great. Like both of us went there. The house was already fully furnished, but it needed some different stuff, like some silverware, some different things that we needed to buy. So we spent like linens and towels, all the kind of stuff. So we spent the whole weekend just buying those things, putting cameras up and organizing all this. And we had to make sure that the moment we left, everything was ready to go and we didn't have to go back because I haven't been back since it started. So it was risky, but I think we were all excited. We loved the house. Like we really liked the house. And then we know for sure it's going to work. So that's why we put everything on it and we just went for it.
Rolled with it. You know what? I always say to people, like, if you, the first two cities you should try to launch properties in are either A, your backyard or somewhere close because then it's accessible for you, or B, a city that you want to travel to. You know, I think Tiara hit the nail on the head, which is like we launched some properties in our backyard and we launched some properties in areas that I want to travel to because then I could just block it off for a weekend and go there myself. So I think long term, as you're growing this portfolio, that's a great strategy. It's like either right in your backyard or somewhere that you want to go to because then you're going to enjoy it more, right? That's the cool thing about this model. So roughly, but amongst the three Airbnbs, what is your rough like revenue and then projected profit margin?
So my revenue now, my first month, I think I did almost $11,000 on the three properties altogether.
Nice.
Which is barely covers the rents for now, but at least it's a good start. At least I got like a lot of.
You took them in the slow season too.
Yeah, it started right into the slow season right now, and this is a tough time to start, but at least get me learning a little bit. So when the high season comes, I'll be ready for it and ready to take over the business. My projected profit on this, I think, is like at least a couple thousand in each of the houses. That's my goal.
That's awesome. I mean, hell, even if you average out like $2,000 a unit over the course of the entire calendar year, you're projecting like 6K a month. Like that's life-changing income for a lot of people, honestly. Yeah. So, and that's in 3 months, 3 deals, and you happen to get deals that didn't really cost you anything because most people took on a lot of the furniture for you. But overall, that's incredible. That's really substantial. So kudos on the 3 deals. I guess, in closing, what would you advise to somebody that's considering the world of arbitrage? And if so, somebody that's like a little bit nervous about starting with Airbnb or starting even with like a mentorship company, considering Airpreneur for guidance on this, like what's your advice to folks like that?
I think you just go for it. Like as I said before, I'm a guy that likes to play safe, and then I thought it was risky for me, but if you go for it, then you see that it's going to come back. Like it's going to be something that you're going to invest your time on it, but things will come back. It might take a few months for you to get there, but it's definitely worth it. It's definitely something that works and it's proven that works, like on you guys' job and all this. And the support that we have, not only from you guys, but it's from the community, I think is great. I can name quite a few people that really helped me out I don't even know them, right? And they were able to get on DMs with me and help me do this. There's one person in particular I want to call out, Monica from Texas. She was amazing. Before I went to Austin, she drove to the neighborhood to look at the neighborhood to make sure everything was nice before I even went over there. So like the community itself is just amazing. So that's
You know what, I want to reach out to her. I haven't talked to her in a while, but I remember her doing that for you and offering to do that. She's actually offered to do that for multiple students who were considering launching in Austin, Texas. Donnie and Bruna, they just launched a 5-unit deal. They took on 5 apartments there recently. Yeah, I mean, there was a handful of other students targeting Austin.
I've been in contact with them too.
Oh, I'm sure you have.
They're great. They're great. They're great people. They're going to we exchange some challenges and ideas and stuff like this, so which is really good.
That's what it's all about. I mean, honestly, you can't like come into any world of business and expect it to be challenge free. I tell a lot of people, like a lot of people that are considering joining whatever the mentorship or starting Airbnb, they always ask me like, what's the downside? Like, what's the hardest part? And I actually think it's not getting a landlord to say yes, because you, for example, you had like 3, 4, 5 deals lined up before you even took one. Yep. It wasn't getting the landlord to say yes. It wasn't, getting the property up and running. It's not keeping it booked. It's not making money. It's honestly, it's when you have a high criteria, like a high standard of the type of unit that you want with at least a profit margin of $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, you end up saying no to a lot of deals. And that, I think, is the hardest part is saying no to 1, 2, 3 deals and not getting discouraged and sticking with it. But every single person that's done it, it always pays off. Like Aaron, he's another guy that joined, military dude, Omaha, Nebraska. And I remember him coming and saying, I'm going to crush it. And then his first 2, 3 deals, we said, don't take them. Numbers aren't good. And he was like, I'm feeling discouraged, this and that. We're like, dude, don't stop. Next deal lands 2 with the same landlord. Each one's projected to do like $2K a month. It's just like, it happens all the time. It's like the entrepreneur curve, So anyway, any other final thoughts, suggestions, ideas?
I think, like you said, is just keep the contact. Like, don't get discouraged if somebody doesn't give you a deal and all this, but keep a good relationship with that person regardless. Because you don't know if they have other houses and all this. One quick story before we close. I was driving Joshua 3, setting up the houses and all this, and then I was stopped at the red light, and I look at the house. The guy next to me, it was a guy that I talked to, like my first property that I talked to, and ended up not working out. One with a big pool and all this. He ended up ghosting me and everything. So I say, hey, hello, how are you doing? Remember me? Oh, yeah, good. How's it going? He's like, well, I have a long-term rental. It's not going great. I said, hey, keep my number. In case you need one day, we're in the area. We'll be happy to take the house over from you. So I sent him a text message afterwards. It was great seeing you. Let me know. So it's great. Keep those contacts. You never know.
100%. I hope you land that deal because I remember doing that analysis with you.
That was a good one.
That was projected to do like 2 to 3K. Last thing I'll say about this too is some people don't realize the impact of being able to reach out to a landlord and have this conversation. My entire portfolio of 30, 40, whatever units at this point really stems from like 4 or 5 relationships. It's the same 4 or 5 landlords. If you just sell that one person, you build a good relationship with them and they want to work with you, every time they get a new vacancy, a new property, they're like, hey man, you want to take it? Same thing with apartment buildings. Once they build that relationship with you, they offer you a bunch more. We're actually in an arbitrage apartment right now. Not one of ours, but I want to try to take over this building because this guy sucks. But
it's a nice place.
But. Yeah. No, it's a cool. I'm just joshing. But overall, I appreciate you, sharing your story. I hope this is inspiring to other people who want to start with Airbnb. And yeah, man, let's keep crushing it together.
Of course. Thanks, Vince. Appreciate it.